Hi, and welcome back to Sexy in Your 60s. I'm so glad you're here. We're on episode 2 of season 1. I'm your host, Dvora Citron, registered nurse, national board certified health and wellness coach, plant strong enthusiast, grandmother, lifelong learner, and someone who believes deeply in the power of reinvention at every age. Just a quick reminder, this podcast is starting scrappy on purpose. Progress over perfection. The message matters more than the polish. Today, we're diving into one of the most foundational pieces of vibrant aging, and that's your mindset. The stories you tell yourself about who you are, how you're aging, and what is still possible for you. You might be surprised by just how much this matters. So let's talk about it. Okay, so here's the thing. When women join my Sexy in Your 60s program, you know what we talk about first? Not nutrition, not movement, and not sleep. Mindset. And I know you might be thinking, oh great, here comes the positive thinking speech. But that's not what this is. This is something much bigger. Because here's what I've learned. You can know exactly what to eat. You can know exactly how to move your body. And you can know all the habits that support your sleep, your hormones, and your brain health. And if you don't, you can look them up on the internet. But if deep down you believe things like, I'm too old to change, or my best years are behind me, or at this age, this is just how it is, then none of those tools are going to land because your actions will always reflect the story you believe. So mindset isn't some fluffy concept. It's not about toxic positivity or ignoring reality. Mindset is the lens through which you interpret your entire life. And that lens, it impacts your biology. There's actually research on this. Studies show that women who hold more positive beliefs about aging live on average 7.5 years longer than women who hold negative beliefs. 7.5 years. Not because of different diets, not because of different exercise routines, but because of different beliefs. That isn't magic. It's physiology. It's your nervous system. It's stress hormones. It's motivation. It's behavior. It's identity. And it's completely within your control. So let me share something personal with you. The mindset that I live with now, grounded, optimistic, intentional, that wasn't always the mindset I had. In my early 50s, before I shifted to a plant-strong lifestyle, before I really embraced movement differently, before all my surgeries, I had 2 hip surgeries, before I became a grandmother, I remember feeling this bone-deep tired. Not physically tired, though, yeah, I was tired. It was more like soul fatigue. You know that kind that comes from years of caregiving, responsibility, worrying, rushing, holding everything together for everyone else. I would wake up and think, is this what the next chapter is supposed to feel like? And honestly, I was falling apart over and over again. I was dealing with GI issues, and my body was telling me something, but I was not really listening. And then one day, I was sitting in the GI doctor's office, and I saw a brochure. It was about managing pain, but it wasn't about medication. It was about mindfulness meditation. And something inside me said, pick that up. And then I called the phone number and I enrolled in the course. and I stayed in it for several iterations and several years. Looking back now, I realize that was probably the first real part of my transformation. Not the only part, not the end journey, but the beginning. It brought awareness to my personal experience. Maybe for the first time in decades. It taught me how to pause, how to listen to myself, and how to actually take care of myself instead of just caring for everyone else. It's been a long journey since then, and I'm still on it. And I'm really glad I'm on it. Then came my hip surgeries and my back surgeries. And when I was rehabbing from my first hip replacement, I started taking these really short walks, 5 minutes, then 10, and a little more each day. My body was healing, yes. But something else was healing too. My inner voice was shifting from, I can't do this, to, I'm learning to do this, to eventually, I am doing this. And that shift, it created momentum. It created possibility. It created a whole new identity. I realized that if my physical body could rebuild and strengthen itself, then my mindset and my inner story could too. That was my ongoing mindset transformation. And honestly, it changed everything. So here's one of the biggest mindset traps that I see for women in midlife. And that's the idea that aging is a decline in beauty, a decline in relevance, a decline in desirability, a decline in energy, a decline in opportunity. But listen, here's the truth. I want everybody to hear this, every woman to hear this truth. Aging is an evolution, not a decline. It's a deepening, a ripening, a clarifying, a refining, a returning to yourself. Yeah, your body changes, absolutely. Your hormones shift, yes. And your relationships evolve, for sure. But none of that means you are less. It means you are becoming. You're stepping into the most grounded, wise, essential version of yourself. And when you start seeing aging as an evolution, as a season of expansion instead of contraction, everything opens. Your curiosity opens. Your confidence opens. Your desire opens. Your possibilities open. Your whole life opens. Here's something else I want you to think about. So many of the beliefs that we hold about aging, they're not even our own. They're others. They come from family messaging, cultural expectations, media, sexist narratives about women's worth, ageist assumptions, outdated medical norms, generational patterns. We absorb these stories in really small ways. Women disappear after 50. You're too old to reinvent yourself. Don't start something new at this age. Slow down. Be careful. You're not as needed anymore. But here's the thing. Just because a story has been handed to you doesn't mean that you have to keep it. You get to examine it. You get to question it. And if it doesn't serve your well-being, your joy, your vitality, you get to rewrite it. Women over 60 are writing books, starting businesses, returning to passions that they'd set aside, re-entering the dating world, exploring new identities, building communities, healing old wounds, becoming emotionally stronger than they've ever been. You get to decide your story. And here's the part I love most. You don't need some major life event to change your mindset. You just need awareness. So I want to offer you 3 questions. These questions can start rewriting your inner narrative almost immediately. Question 1. What am I assuming about aging that might not actually be true? Maybe you assume you have less energy now, but what if intentional habits could actually create more energy than you've had in years? Question 2. What do I want this next chapter to feel like? This question is huge because it guides your actions, your habits, and your choices. Question 3. Who am I becoming now? Because you're always becoming. Always. When women in my program answer these questions, things start shifting really quickly. They start moving their bodies differently, nourishing themselves differently, speaking to themselves differently, reconnecting with desire, creativity, and confidence. Mindset isn't the whole transformation, but it's the gateway to everything else. So if you're able, take a slow breath with me right now. Place one hand over your chest and maybe soften your eyes and your shoulders. And just ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about aging? And is it a story I want to keep? Just notice what comes up. No judgment, just awareness. Because awareness, that's the seed of growth. Quick reminder, the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended as medical advice or a substitute for individualized care. Every woman's health needs are unique. Always consult your primary healthcare provider before making changes to your nutrition, physical activity, medications, or self-care routines. Listening to this podcast does not establish a patient-provider or coaching relationship. So, if you're ready to start reshaping your inner story gently, intentionally, beautifully, I created a free resource for you. It's called the Sexy in Your 60s Starter Guide. It's got reflection prompts to help you reconnect with what's possible for you. You can download it at slanttoplants.com/starter-guide, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes. You'll also get early access to special offers and resources that I only share with my community. So, thank you so much for being here with me today. Your mindset is the soil from which everything else grows. Your habits, your energy, your relationships, your sense of self. You deserve a mindset that lifts you, that supports you, that empowers you to live this chapter with confidence and vitality. Until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, stay vibrant, and stay beautifully, boldly sexy, exactly as you are.